Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million. Okay, here we are, issue 87, and the hits keep coming. So in this issue, they have the Imperial Interdictor Cruiser. So that'll be interesting. Visiting Ryloth. So if you are watch Clone Wars and Rebels, you'd know a bit about Ryloth. Mining the Galaxy Part 2. And looks like asteroid mining. So let's take a look at the parts that we're going to get in this issue, or that we did get for this issue. We've got stuff. Okay, so got rubber bands. Don't need those. We've got wires and a switch. We've got an extension cable. We've got an LED strip. I'm assuming, I believe this is one of 2 LED strips. So, what I'm going to do is go ahead and get this off of here because I need the wire to start kind of straightening out, because otherwise it's going to be a pain to run it to where I need it to. So I'll set that off to the side. Might as well straighten this part out too. Looks like it's got 3M sticky. All right. Might have to put some weight on that. I've got this electrical tape here that I got to do for the cockpit. Let's go ahead and go to our first page, see what's going on here. Wiring. We're going to do a lot of wiring. So I'm assuming, because we're doing wiring, that these are going to come into play later. I'm going to be willing to bet, look, the wire goes through there. I'm willing to bet that this is for, we're going to wait until we get the parts the next time before we even start doing that. So since we've got wiring going on, let's get all of this wire pulled out and rearranged. And we can figure out a way to direct it where we need it to go after the fact. So it looks like we're putting in some LEDs, which works out okay, because the previous issue, issue 86? I think it may have been. We got some LEDs. We've got a total of 4. So I'm assuming we're putting in 4. It has us, we're going to use some screws, and we're going to might keep this as a paint palette. Not a bad idea. So since we're going to need the base piece, I've got all of the wires pulled out. I've got the screws here that they tell me that I need to use and all that. So I'm going to get the bottom part of the hull so we can get this put in. Okay, here we are. So the first one, take one of the LEDs with a shorter lead. So there's 2 sizes, short and long. All right, so you can see that there. We're going to use a shorter one. And where do we put it? I coil the wire, feed the LED to the porthole just astern of the corridor. Okay, let me show you this. So it's got this handy dandy diagram here and tells you which ones are which. So this first one is going to plug into J12. It says it's the port rear landing light. That'd be this one. J12. It looks like it's the second from the top over here by this capacitor. So that's where we're going to put it. Merry Christmas. Okay, got all those on. Now it's going to be time for the switch, and I believe the switch goes here. So I'm just going to knock this cover off, and we can put this switch in place. Okay, so there's all that. Now we should be able to take our spare battery pack, plug it in, I believe right here. This one gets plugged into J13. And we should be able to test this. So if I press the button and then press button B, this one here, and that should make the lights work. So let's flip on the power. Yeah, let's do this. Give me one second. I need to get this flipped over so you can see it, which means I need to move the legs because I don't want to damage the boarding ramp. Okay, so right, got it all ready to go. I tested it off camera because of the fact that first time I tried to light it up, it didn't work. And then I realized there's another on-off switch that you have to press. So let's see if we can. I think I accidentally pressed the switch. Again, flipping it back over. All right, here we go. There you go, landing lights. And they'll stay on until the pressure switch is released. All right, and all 4 of them. Let me see if I can get this so you can see all 4. There we go. All 4 of them come on and off. Woohoo! Now, in reality, the Falcon's got a lot more landing lights than this, and I could add more. However, that's, considerably more work, and I've already done a boatload of extra work anyway, so I've decided I'm going to stick with what they provided. It's more of the feel and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to focus very heavily on painting and all that kind of stuff. So, um, so this pressure switch, I don't know exactly what that's for as far as testing goes, but we've got this cover that will cover it up, and there we go. So that's all for this part. We're going to have plenty of time, so I'm going to start masking off the mandibles in preparation of getting them painted because they desperately need it. So I'm going to get everything situated, and we're going to come back, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to mask that off when we come back, and I'll get the base coat of that painted. So see you guys in a few. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. So, as you can see, I have Silly Putty. From what I've been told, Silly Putty makes an excellent masking agent. It does not leave any residue. It doesn't specifically stick. It's easy to mold, all that kind of stuff. And I happen to have some areas that need some very good masking agents. And so I got some Silly Putty. Silly Putty is not the easiest thing to find. I had to go to a Dollar Tree. If you don't have a Dollar Tree near you, if you're not familiar with a Dollar Tree, it's basically a super cheap store. You may have heard of Dollar General. Basically, it's just like I said, a really cheap store. They happen to have a bunch of Silly Putty, of all things, name brand, everything. And so that was kind of surprising to me. If you're not familiar with Silly Putty, basically this stuff's been around forever. Used to use it on comics, like on a comic strip or whatever. You could put it on there, pull it off, and it would actually take the ink off and that kind of stuff. So, but it doesn't leave a residue. So that's why we want it for this. If this does not work, then the next option was going to be taking masking tape and trying to use masking tape and cut it and all that kind of stuff. And that did not sound too terribly appealing to me. So I'm going to kind of try to avoid that. So instead, we're just going to try to use this Silly Putty as best we can and cover all of our bases here. So also I'll be using the Silly Putty, and we just want to try to, we don't have to cover everything perfectly. We just want to make sure that we get it so like the majority of it doesn't get down in there. Whatever does get painted over, we'll have to make sure that we get painted again. So we can see there's a little bit here. So we're just going to try to mold this. Now, if you tried blue tack, if you guys have been watching for a while, I used blue tack when I did the kind of the bunk space there in the cargo area, and it did not work so well. So it masked really well. Problem was that it stuck to everything, and that's not desirable. So when I found out about Silly Putty being an option, in fact, I believe the magazine even shows it as a suggestion. So and I end up getting 8 of these packs of Silly Putty. I'm not going to care how much I use or anything like that. I do want to try to get this molded around certain parts like this. So I'm still going to need this pipe to get painted because I did not paint this pipe ahead of time like I did with the other side. So there was one side that I actually painted ahead of time. This one I did not, because I kind of realized that it was going to be a big pain in the butt to do. So we're just going to see about masking it off as good as we can with the old putty of the silliness. All right, there's one ready to paint. This one was easy, obviously. There's nothing going into it. So I had thought about holding off on doing these, but I realized that because what I was going to hold off because there's some other parts here, but then I realized I can just glue them on anyway. I can clean off where the spots go and still glue the stuff on. I'll pre-paint it before I put it on. You know, it'll be a lot easier that way. So that's what I decided to do. All right, I've got to get a couple more eggs. All right, so we have some more putty here. Let's go ahead and now these ones I'm gonna do a bit differently. So I just want to cover these ones up. I don't per se need to go inside because the fact that this is all painted up top, so it's not like I'm going to be spraying up to there. So I'm just going to cover these holes as best we can, something like that. And if there's overspray up to there, then I can just repaint up to there, so no big deal. All right, last little bit. One of the reasons why I like the idea of the silly putty is we can tear us off a piece. It's probably too much. And just going to make a little ball. Then we're going to put it right over the end. And drop that on the floor. If you're not familiar with silly putty, it bounces. So it's got all kinds of interesting properties. So let's try this again. All right, there we go. So when I paint these, I'm going to have to paint one side at a time. I can't flip it over until the paint dries. So I need to get started on the primer now, and then that way we can get the base coat done. So see you guys when it's all done. Right. We are back. Good news, bad news. So, bad news is I don't have the mandibles painted yet. The good news is I'm still painting them, and I have plenty of time to do that. I was hoping to get it done by the end of this video, but I need to get some editing done, and so that way I can get this out on time. So as such, I was painting them off camera anyway, and it's not like they were integral to this video as it was. So I'm going to continue doing them off camera. I don't want to rush them because, runs, drips, and drops and all that kind of fun stuff. So I'm going to take my time making sure I get those painted, because if I have to strip the paint off of there to fix anything, I will not be very happy. So, yeah, not going to rush through it. But we'll continue on with that, and then we'll show it off when we get those done. So that's everything for issue 87. Next time we'll be doing issue 88, and we're going to get the second half of the engine area, along with some more of the LEDs, a bunch of more screws. I have no idea what the little white things are. Looks like some more framework for something. So we'll see what all that's about when we get to issue 88. I just want to give a quick shout out to William G. It was great seeing you again. And don't worry, I won't tell anybody what the G stands for. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. And may the force be with you always.